Do you think we'll ever have degrees at universities in sales? Why don't we? I mean, my daughter right now, she's studying philosophy and a bunch of other things. If she said there was a sales degree, I'd be like, you're all over that. That degree would be worth 10x anything else, because she could get out and be ready to do almost anything, go anywhere. Imagine 4 years, Spencer.
Yeah.
The details, a class on cold calling, a class on mindset and rejection, a class on each one of these things.
A semester on
Right?
cold calling. Imagine that.
You'd be a master bulletproof.
Absolutely.
Role plays,
Yeah.
internships.
Yeah.
Telling you, Harvard's missing a beat.
But why don't they do that? I'm always baffled by this. I'm really baffled by this, because they'll do marketing degrees.
Right.
Okay, degree in marketing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, marketing and sales are partners. They're friends. They're enemies sometimes in business, but the reality is they're friends.
You're right.
It's push selling and pull selling. It's marketing's pull selling, sales is push selling. It's like, there should be a degree in that.
Yeah. It just has this weird connotation, this weird, thought process around it.
It's icky, isn't it?
It's icky, even though like some of the highest paid people in the world are great salesmen. And every great entrepreneur is by definition a great salesperson. Elon Musk's and the Tim Cooks and all these people, look at them, they're selling all the time. They're now building personal brands on the back of it. But who's front and center selling the new iPhone? It's Tim Cook walking around the Apple campus. It's crazy, now people really understand. And when I got into this business I'm in now, I had to be the front and center salesperson. And I didn't mind it. I was ready. But if you're not ready as an entrepreneur and you think you're going to outsource it, like forget about it, right?
Yeah, no chance. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you might need to raise some money. You've got to sell.
Yeah.
You might need to persuade people to come and join your startup with no big salaries.
Yeah.
You've got to sell. So it's in all parts of our lives. And Mark Cuban says, if there's one skill you have to learn, the first skill must be sales. Everything comes after that.
Do you find that you can continue learning? Like I sometimes get these reels popping up on Instagram, and these people saying like, here's 3 things about sales. And I watch it and I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. I'm just constantly getting some knowledge. And Chris Voss, he's that famous FBI negotiator, and he always says, get them to say no, don't get them to say yes. And I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I'm playing with it and trying it. And I don't know, I'm constantly getting new ideas on sales.
But sales is about systems and processes.
Okay.
Greatest salespeople have systems and processes they follow. So if I look at my success when I was actually selling, I had a system that I followed. Okay, I was a guy that had three options. I could cold call, I could network, or I could get referrals. Well, I didn't want to cold call. Nobody does. Networking, I'm the guy in a networking event in the corner looking at my phone going, why am I here? Why am I here? Yeah,
Even you?
I don't like going into a room of strangers.
Of cold, okay.
If I go in and I'm coming to see you and you introduce me to 3 people, that's fine.
Okay.
But if I don't know anyone, that's
What if they know you because of the show and stuff?
And someone said it, I was hiking the other day, I was coming down the mountain, this lady went, you're famous. And I'm like, am I?
That's
and
amazing.
I was just, immediately, I just felt uncomfortable.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
It's a weird feeling.
As you said that. But I think that as salespeople, understanding your systems and the processes you follow is important. So for me, it was referrals.
Okay.
Now, I wasn't the best salesperson, but I was the best person at getting referrals on the planet. Nobody in my industry could come close to me. But because I obsessed about it, and I listened to every video. Back then it was the cassette tapes and the CDs, whether it was Tony, Zig Ziglar, whoever it was, Jim Rohn and stuff like that. Nowadays there's many more. And there is some really good content out there. There's an Italian guy in the UK that wears really bright yellow suits, and he's a cold calling expert. And his cold calls are brilliant, and he literally does them, and you can hear the person speaking at the other end. And I learn something from him every day. Wow. He cold calls people. He says to them, if I told you this was a cold call, would you pick your phone up and throw it out the window? And I love lines like that. There's great starts. If I told you this was a cold call, would you forgive me? And so I think that when you've got people like that are giving some value in some way, learn, try it. It might work for you, it might not, but definitely listen.
But it's really a process. It's not about a fancy trick or a one-liner. It's really about a system.
Yeah.
And that is, you're doing tons of outbounds, you're following up with people, you're doing all these things that ultimately get the result, just like an engineer would or just like a designer would.
Exactly.
And that's the way you should look at it, as like a skill, not some magic ability, not something to do when you're inspired like an artist. You just got to grind and put in the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Our mutual friend Grant Cardone, I remember once said something, it just came into my mind. He said, sell standing up, close sitting down. And I think what he meant by that is the emotion and the excitement is done standing up. Maybe that's when you're on the phone and you're standing up, or maybe you're with them. And then when you close, you're sitting down, which means, okay, now I'm going to go through all of the details and get them to sign and make sure they know everything, to where when it's closed, they're happy. They don't come back later saying, I didn't know that. Do you agree with that? Do you ever think about that? Or do you, okay.
So let's say we were doing some training right now and we had 10 people in a room and we decided to do some role plays. Is it going to be better if they stood up to do role plays or sit down? It's always going to be better if they're standing up. Okay, there's more energy, the esophagus is open, we're breathing better. So I believe you should stand up when you make every call. They say smile when you dial. It has purpose behind it. Smile, be in a positive mindset when you dial. Nobody wants to answer the phone to someone going, hello. You know, they want someone positive on the phone. When whatever it is for you, and I don't believe it's a numbers game, sales. Okay, I don't believe, like a lot of people do, it's a numbers game. I believe it's the right numbers game. So for example, you can make 100 cold calls or you can call 10 referrals. What would you rather do? Yeah. I'd rather call the 10 referrals all day long. Right. I've probably got a better chance of converting 10 referrals than I have 100 cold calls. Well, 10 referrals might take me half an hour. 100 cold calls might take me half a day. So for me, I don't believe the numbers game should be like that.
Okay.
So I see it a bit different, but I've got a lot of benefit from spending time with Grant as well. And what does he bring to the table? A system. If you go and do his course, there's a system, there's processes, and there's high energy.
Right.
And that's the ingredients we need.
I remember one of his processes, I think, was the follow-up. He's like, so many people, just salespeople, they miss the follow-up. They don't do the follow-up, and the follow-up after that, and the follow-up after that. Maybe because that's a little more grunty, and maybe you don't have the adrenaline spikes with the initial outreach, but that's the system, right?
The other thing is we forget that if you speak to 100 people, there might be people in there that it's not the right time.
Yeah.
They might have just had an argument with their wife.
Yeah.
They might have just had a bit of road rage in the traffic, They might have come out of a busy meeting. They might have a busy day. It might not be the right time now. That doesn't mean they don't like you. It just might not be the right time. So why would you not go back to them again? Maybe the next time is a right time. And people will always put you off by saying, call me back in 3 months, okay? Or call me back next month. It's like, no, can I call you back tomorrow? If we're going to do something, I'm going to demonstrate some value to you. So let me demonstrate that value, and then you can decide whether I'm of value to you.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside, I view, is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.